Hey there gamers, Probably Senpai here, and today we're going to be discussing this survey that was put out by the Dreamlight Valley team that's asking the Dreamlight Valley players and community members for their opinions and feelings on some very important topics. And the questions in this survey have some very exciting ramifications, and they give us some insight about what to expect in the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley. In today's video, we will be breaking down and discussing some of these very interesting questions and what it means for us as players. Now, I'm sure this survey will expire at some point, but right now it is still live at the time of recording this video. And you can find a link to take this survey in our video description, because I feel it's very important for as many Dreamlight Valley enthusiasts as possible to respond to this survey. Before we dive into these very exciting topics, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so every like on this video can make a very big difference for me. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. We experienced incredible growth on the YouTube platform last year, and I have even bigger goals and ambitions with YouTube this year. So it would mean so much to me if you would join our growing community. Thank you for your time and consideration, and with that, let's get into this survey. To start, we won't really be diving into the first 13 or so questions very much. It's pretty apparent from these questions that they're just trying to gauge what kind of demographic is responding to this survey. This portion of the survey focuses more on what country you reside in, your age, your gender, what platform you play on, and what kind of game mechanics you enjoy or like versus what you dislike. And none of this stuff really gives us any insight as to what the dev team is thinking of or planning, so let's get into the juicier questions. We'll start with the 14th question, which asks you how much you agree or disagree with certain community talking points. And these two talking points are very interesting, so let's just go ahead and read them out here. The first one here says, Star Path rewards should come back as items in the premium shop versus Star Path rewards should not come back as items in the premium shop. And this question provides the user with a toggle so you can either remain neutral or you can strongly agree with one side or the other. Now, I'm sure the reason Gameloft is asking this is because before they implement something like this, they really need to gauge community response, which is why all of us taking this survey is very important. If a majority of the fan base was not okay with this, Gameloft could get a lot of pushback and it could be seen as a quick cash grab. With that said, I think a good 90 to 95% of the player base in Disney Dreamlight Valley started sometime after the beginning of early access and probably missed a few of the Star Path items. So I think this will be appealing to the majority of players. Now, my thoughts on this, the only issue I have is I don't know if the items coming to the premium shop is the right way for this to be handled, because we have no idea how many Moonstones they're going to charge for some of these items. On top of that, right now our premium shop only has the 4 slots. Maybe they would add more slots to the premium shop, but how long would you have to wait for that one item you were dying to get your hands on? Is it the Well of Souls? Is it the Adventurers Out There balloon basket? And how many Moonstones is this going to cost you? I think rather than items coming to the premium shop, it would be better if after you complete a Star Path, you have the option to pay for and initiate a previous Star Path. This will cost players far less Moonstones, I believe, and it wouldn't feel quite as cash grabby as just listing some of these items for 1,000 or 2,000 Moonstones. And interestingly enough, it seems that this option is also hinted at a bit further into the survey. Now, I have mentioned on my stream in the past that any live service game bringing back items from previous seasons or Star Paths can be somewhat of a slippery slope. The whole point of a Star Path is to reward players for playing at a specific point in time, with unique cosmetics and decor. So if a player has their hands on the Adventurers Out There balloon basket or the Well of Souls, they feel that it is their reward as a legacy player. And typically I would agree with this. However, there is one big issue here, and that issue is Dreamsnaps. Now, you don't need all of the Star Path items to be able to make a good Dreamsnap, but I feel like Dreamsnaps would be enjoyed by more players if we all had some kind of access to the same items regardless of start time. For example, we all just finished up the holiday cheer Dreamsnaps, and if you did the 2022 Christmas holiday star path, that star path had way better festive decor options than our current star path. Not that the current star path wasn't really good, I love the items in the new one, but the other one just felt way more festive. And having those items, I think, did provide a clear benefit. It's for this very reason that I am not strongly opposed at all to star path items recirculating. With that said, I don't think the star path items coming to the premium shop is the best way to address it. At least not until we know how they're going to decide which items to put into the shop, how many moonstones they're going to charge, and other important variables. Again, I am in support of these items coming back, but instead of them just being thrown into the premium shop for thousands of moonstones, I think newer players should have the option to purchase and participate in whatever star pass they missed. And on top of that, I believe even if you've already done a star path, you should have the option to repeat it and in some way enhance your rewards. This way, everybody wins. Legacy players, new players, everybody stands to benefit. And interestingly enough, as we progress in the survey, there are even some hints towards that as well. So I know I've spent a lot of time on this one question, but I feel like this one is probably the most important question in the entire survey. So to summarize, I do believe that everyone should be able to access the items they missed. Otherwise, it's like you're being punished in a way for not hearing about the game sooner or not knowing about it when it was early access. And considering this could hold back certain players' Dreamsnap submissions, I believe this is ultimately fair because it will level the playing field. I just don't necessarily think the premium shop is the way to go here. Because like I stated, if we could just repeat the star paths, I think that would ultimately make these items even more accessible for a majority of the players. Because not everybody is going to be able to dump thousands of moonstones to pick up every item they missed. Repeating old star paths is a lot cheaper, and some of the star path rewards are moonstones. So as long as you're willing to put in the effort, you would be able to get the items and save money. With all that said, let's move on to question number 15. Now this question is interesting. It asks you to agree with one or the other. One side says star path themes should be similar to the update theme, and the other side says star path themes should be different from the update theme. I think for this question, I'm mostly neutral because I feel like it just depends on the time of year and it depends on the update. Sometimes I would like for the star path to align with the update, and sometimes I would rather the star path be its own thing that has more to do with the time of year or whatever events or anniversaries we're currently celebrating within the Disney universe. So for this one, I'm pretty much stuck with neutral. Now for the 16th question, and this kind of touches on something we were discussing earlier. This question poses two options and allows us to gauge them from extremely unappealing to extremely appealing. Option number one is being able to complete a star path again in exchange for additional rewards, which I find extremely appealing as long as the rewards are worth it. I don't want star coins. Unless they adjust the late game economy, star coins are pretty much just unlimited once you have pumpkins and you're in the late game. I pretty much never get excited about star coins. Now, if you're in the early game, I feel like that could be great. But for late game players, it's a moot point. And the second option is really fun. It says to see tracked duties for the star path similar to how quests are tracked. Now, I love this. I'm always forgetting about star path duties, especially when I have other things going on like Dreamsnaps and the new expansion. So for me, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But if I can pin a star path duty, I feel like I won't forget it as easy. And I have ADHD, so being able to pin something in sight is just super helpful for me. So I find that extremely appealing. Now moving on to question 17, and this is one of my favorite questions in the entire survey because this one gives us an idea as to what kind of future star paths we might be seeing. There are a lot of really cool options here, but unfortunately it only lets us pick 3. So my guess is when this survey is done, they're just going to look at the 3 with the most votes and say, let's prioritize those. And I'm going to read them off to you, and then I just want, you guys let me know in the comments what you would like to see as a future star path theme. I'd love to get an idea about what to expect, and I'll let you know which ones I think are very likely after we read through the list. First up is the Mythical Star Path, which includes dragons, fantasy fairies, mythical creatures, and attire. The next option is Disney Classic Star Path, a star path centered around Disney classics, such as Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Robin Hood, etc. Then we have the Decades Star Path, content inspired by various decades. We have the Princess Star Path, princess-themed items, iconic character dresses and suits, carriages, and dream styles for the princesses in the valley. Next up, we have Cottagecore Star Path, nature-inspired content, simplistic outfits, farming/barns, and cutesy farm animal critters. Following that, we have the Gamer Star Path, a path featuring items inspired by modern day gaming aesthetics such as RGB items and attire. Next, we have the Wonderland Star Path, content and landscaping inspired by Alice in Wonderland. There's the Mermaid Star Path, content inspired by The Little Mermaid, including seashells, beach styles, and aquatic life. And lastly, we have the Greek Mythology Star Path, Hercules and Hades, Percy Jackson, and Olympian-inspired content. Now, personally, a lot of these sound really, really good to me, but let me share my personal favorites, and then I'll tell you what I think has the best odds. And I'll tell you my 3, but that doesn't mean I dislike the others. I want to pick more than 3 to be fair, but this is the 3 I chose. I like the idea of the Mythical Star Path, so I went with that. You know, dragons, fantasy, fairies, that all sounds right up my alley. I chose the Greek Mythology Star Path. Disney's animated Hercules was one of my all-time favorite Disney movies, and I have been really hoping that we'll eventually see Hercules and Hades in the game. Matter of fact, there was a little bit of a hint that Olympia might be a future DLC. When we went into Dreamlight Castle and we took the boat to Eternity Isle, Merlin was telling us that there are other transport devices that take us to other lands, and he mentioned airships, and you know what else he mentioned that really caught my attention? Chariots. So I do think that we will see a Greek mythology themed expansion in the future. At least I hope so. That would be super cool. And I saved the best for last, the one that I want the most, the Cottagecore Star Path. Nature-inspired content, simplistic outfits, farming in barns, and cutesy farm animal companions. One of my absolute favorite things regarding Disney Dreamlight Valley is the nature aspect. I love all of the landscaping items. I love creating nature-inspired builds, and everything about Cottagecore sounds really fun to me. So yeah, that's the 3 I chose. Now, as far as what I think is going to get pushed through and actually become a star path, I definitely think Cottagecore stands a really good chance. But as far as the others, it's really hard for me to say what I think other players would really like. Maybe the Princess Star Path, because I know there's a lot of y'all out there that are big fans of the Disney princesses, possibly Disney classics. But to be fair, I have no clue. So I would love to hear in the comments which 3 you chose, and which ones you think are going to get the most votes. The best way to get an idea about what to expect is to listen to the community response. Now, question number 18 is not the most exciting, but one of the responses on it really caught my eye, and it's something that I'm pretty pumped for, and I really hope ends up coming into the game. 18 states, which improvements would you most like to see added to the Star Path? And you can select 3 options. The ability to have unlimited amounts of duties and claim star coins or craftables, which, the craftables, that's cool, but star coins, like I said, not interested. Introducing different types of rewards. I mean, that would be cool, but I feel like it's kind of vague. Like, what are the different types of rewards? I don't even know what I'm voting for there. Weekly and daily based duties, which I think could be cool in a star path, but I feel like potentially that could punish people that aren't able to play on a certain day or a certain week, or if you have some big life event, you're just gonna miss out on part of the star path. And I don't know if I'm really in favor for that. There's an option for adding more duties and rewards, the ability to track one duty, like tracking a quest, and my favorite option, the ability to repeat the star path and exchange the same item for a special treatment like sparkles or visual effects. Now, I love this idea. Like we were saying on the big question of previous Star Path items coming back into the game, instead of them coming to the premium shop, if we were able to choose and repeat or do a previous Star Path for the first time, newer players would be able to grab the items they haven't been able to get their hands on, and veteran players could repeat those Star Paths and upgrade their items so they have sparkles and different visual effects. Not to mention, the newer players could do this as well. If they complete the Star Path and they want to do it again to get the visual effects, they could. I see this as an absolute win for everybody. I think it's the most exciting option on here. But also, I have no idea what the visual effects would be or how it would look. Either way, the mere concept has me excited. The next question's pretty basic. It just asks, how clear are their Star Path duties that are written in riddle form? I feel like for the most part, they're pretty clear. Every once in a while, I'll get a question from somebody that doesn't know what one of the riddles is referencing. But even if you don't know, there's a lot of videos out there that break down exactly what the riddles are, or you can search them on Google or Reddit. And I kind of like the riddle system. I thought it was a fun little play on the Star Path. Let me know what you think. Now, number 20 asks, how many Moonstone packs have you purchased to date with real world money? I think what they meant to say is just how many Moonstones have you purchased? Because a Moonstone pack is a bundle of Moonstones. And I don't think anybody has purchased 30,000 bundles. So I know what they meant by this question, but the way they worded it was really funny to me. Like, yes, I bought 30,000 $5 bundles of Moonstones, and it only cost me $150,000. So yeah, I know what they meant. There was just like, how many Moonstones have you actually purchased? They're probably just trying to see if players who haven't bought Moonstones have different answers than players who have. That's the most likely situation. And 21 is a similar question. They're just asking, how many house skins have you purchased from the premium shop? For me, I purchased all of them. I think it's the absolute best thing you can get from the premium shop. Plus, we've done really good with Dreamsnaps, so I haven't had much of a reason to pass on any of them. And finally, we've reached another really exciting question with a lot of different ramifications, so let's talk about this. Question number 22 states, we are evaluating new types of offerings for the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley. How appealing would it be to see the following offerings available in the premium shop? Number 1 is downloadable content introducing seasonal weather changes to your village, which would be like a bundle containing snowflakes and snow-covered foliage, etc. This is really the first time we've seen a pitch for downloadable content in the premium shop. So I'm not sure what the cost associated with this would be, but it sounds really exciting, as I've had a lot of people that used to play Animal Crossing saying they wish there were seasonal changes within the game. The next item here is a building that comes with an arrangement and additional items around the house. Now, I think that's all right, and it's really similar to the fourth option, which says a theme bundle featuring a mix of furniture, a house skin, and clothing. Now, for both of these, I don't really find either one of these appealing or unappealing. The problem with this for me is if this becomes the only way to get that house, and you're not interested in the clothing or the decor that comes with it, it's kind of just gonna force you to spend more Moonstones than you should have had to. So I'm a little skeptical on this one. And finally, the last option here says downloadable content centered around animal companions. This is a lot more exciting than the other options we just discussed, because if it's downloadable content, that means significant changes to the game. That means there would possibly be new animations, completely new animal skins, new ways to interact with your animals. So this has a lot of ramifications, and it can work out a lot of ways. So I do find this one very appealing. Now, the next 3 questions are all about dream bundles. The first question asks, have you purchased dream bundles? The second question asks what your favorite reward or part of the dream bundle was. For me, it's the decor prizes and outfits and dream styles. And the third question is pretty fun. It's asking you to select 3 villagers that you would like to see a dream bundle for. Our options are Scrooge, Ariel, Mickey, Vanellope, Olaf, Stitch, Belle, or Kristoff. Now, I had a pretty tough time choosing who I would want to see a dream bundle for. Stitch was my obvious first choice. I love Stitch, so he definitely got a check mark right away. I went with Scrooge McDuck next, and then I went other and I actually chose Merlin. The reason I went with Merlin is I feel like Merlin has been directly tied to so much of our story, and he's a really interesting character with a lot of wisdom and knowledge about Dreamlight Valley. So I feel like a dream bundle centered around Merlin may come with a really interesting storyline and could even give us some more insight regarding Dreamlight Valley and this amazing world as a whole. Now, questions 26, 27, 28, and 29 are all about the Dreamsnaps feature, and it seems Gameloft's just trying to figure out how big of a focus Dreamsnaps is for the player base, how easy it is to understand, and what motivates players to participate. Questions 30 and 31 are much more interesting. Once again, we are faced with the slider here, and there are 2 comments, and we can choose which one we agree with more. Question 30 has us choose between I would rather purchase original Disney Dreamlight Valley items inspired by Disney lore versus I would rather purchase items that can be seen in Disney movies and parks. Now for me, I went with the option on the left. I really like the Dreamlight Valley lore. I personally prefer unique items that aren't necessarily pulled from movies or parks. But with that said, there are plenty of items from both movies and parks I would be happy to purchase. I'm just a bigger fan of the more original stuff in the game. And question 31 pertains to new biomes. The first statement we can side with says, similar to the game today, I would prefer to see more realistic biomes that allow you room to decorate and define them. The opposing option would be, I would prefer to see Disney-themed biomes with more direct references to film locations. Now, for me, being a player who is really motivated by decor and design, I prefer what we have today. I like the realistic biomes that I can decorate and define in my own way. I don't know how much I would enjoy a biome that's heavily predefined and not quite as customizable. But with that said, I'd have to see exactly what they mean first. Like, I'm not necessarily opposed to a themed biome that's directly referencing a movie. Like, if we were able to travel to Olympia and I had a cloud biome, I'm cool with that, as long as I can put my own spin on it. But I am very fond of the current biome system, so that's what I lean towards. Next up, question number 32 gives us our first look at our next potential character, and it asks players to decide what they deem unappealing or appealing. The options are Timon and Pumbaa, Lumiere and Cogsworth, and Rex and Bo Peep. For me, I was mostly in favor of Timon and Pumbaa. I mean, I've been expecting them this whole time. In one of the Dreamlight Valley teasers, we see Timon and Pumbaa following behind Simba in the Sunlit Plateau, marching in front of a sunset, and ever since we saw that, I've been convinced that they're coming to the game. And I'm kind of shocked we haven't seen them yet. So I find them the most appealing because they're the ones I've been expecting. Next up is question number 33, which gives us our first bit of insight into changes coming to multiplayer. This question asks players to choose the 3 things they would like to see the most within multiplayer. The options would be valley activities with others like fishing, cooking, and farming, completing quests with others, taking photos with others, emotes, and the ability to trade custom fashion and furniture designs. Now, personally, I find all of these to be pretty appealing, so picking 3 is a little tough. I really like the ability to trade custom fashion and furniture designs. However, given Touch of Magic's compatibility problems with Dreamsnaps, I feel like that really kills Touch of Magic for me. Like, I could have a Touch of Magic item 2 biomes away, or even 3 biomes away. And then when I finally capture the perfect Dreamsnap, it says, oh, sorry, can't upload this, there's a Touch of Magic item in it. Until that gets fixed, Touch of Magic just feels kind of dead to me. I feel like I can only really play with it indoors, and I also feel like we really need more customizable pieces of clothing. There aren't really a lot of options. But with all that said, the ability to trade the things that we do create would be awesome. Additionally, I'm a very big fan of being able to take pictures with others. I was super bummed out that we can't do that and we can't access any tools. And emotes with friends would be really cool. Just imagine probably Senpai coming to your valley and hitting the gritty. I mean, who wouldn't want that? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think we'll get those kind of emotes, but still, like a little wave or a laugh or something. I think would be really fun. Now, the next question is closely related to this. It takes whichever 3 items you voted in favor of, and it asks you, how often do you think you would do these things if they were added? So for me, I selected taking pictures and emotes and the ability to trade custom fashion and furniture items. As of right now, I probably wouldn't do these things much at all because I feel like right now there's not much of a point to multiplayer just yet. But as more multiplayer features come, I would be doing these things all the time. And those are pretty much the last of the interesting questions. The final questions within the survey just ask the player exactly how they keep up with Disney Dreamlight Valley related news and content, and they ask you which of their socials you follow and where you get your Dreamlight Valley news. Now, the final question was pretty fun. It did say, would you be interested in participating in focus groups to talk about your experience with Dreamlight Valley and the future direction of the game? Of course, I did select yes, and it asked me to provide my email address, and the survey specified that there's no way they'll be able to select everybody, but if you are selected for the focus group, they would reach out to you via email. So if I happen to get selected, as long as there's no kind of non-disclosure agreement or something, I'll definitely keep you guys updated on everything. And there you have it. That's all 40 questions in this very interesting Dreamlight Valley survey. I'd love to know what you felt was the most interesting question in this survey. What are your thoughts and or feelings about the suggested direction of this game? And of course, please don't forget, if you haven't taken the survey yet, I will have it linked down below in the video description. I'm sure at some point it is going to expire. So if you click the link and the survey no longer is operational, sadly that probably means you've missed the window, but hopefully this video reaches more players that have not taken the survey yet so they can provide their input as well. If you haven't done so, do me a very big favor and hit that thumbs up for me, as it helps more people discover this video and my channel. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. And if you would like to catch my live broadcast, you can find me streaming Disney Dreamlight Valley Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel, which will also be linked in the video description down below. If you would like to make some friends to share your Dreamsnaps with, or your Scrooge shop items, or if you're just looking for some valleys to visit, consider joining our Discord server. We have an amazing, growing, and active community over there, and we would love for you to be a part of it. This server will also be linked in the video description. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I sincerely hope you enjoy the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley.